Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka after the court convicted her of crimes against humanity that were linked to last year's student-led protests that ultimately triggered the collapse of her government. Sheikh Hasina, who's in exile in India, was tried in absentia. She's also released a statement calling this politically motivated. But there are calls already for protests, and Bangladesh seems to be on the edge. So what has transpired so far in the last 1 year, and what comes next? I dig a little deeper.
For all these 3 counts, we have decided to inflict her with only one sentence, that is sentence of death.
August 5th, 2024, Sheikh Hasina fled her homeland in a military chopper, scouring for cover in broad daylight as her home, her office, her country was ransacked and set ablaze. It's a country her father fought for, spilled blood over to separate from Pakistan. But over a year later, Sheikh Hasina is forced to live in exile. Weeks after protests, arson and vandalism back in 2024, the Sheikh Hasina government fell, months after she had won the election in the country for a record 4th time. At least 91 people were killed and hundreds injured in clashes between police and protesters demanding the scrapping of quotas for government jobs. That is why Sheikh Hasina was tried in absentia for crimes against humanity. The prosecution alleged that Sheikh Hasina delivered an insightful speech that triggered a chain of actions by senior members of the then government. They claimed that through her provocation, assistance and involvement, law enforcers under their command, along with armed Awami League activists, carried out widespread and systematic attacks on unarmed students and civilians. These attacks included murder, attempted murder, torture and other inhumane acts, said the prosecution. They also alleged that Sheikh Hasina ordered the use of helicopters, drones and lethal weapons against student protesters with the intention of killing and eliminating those involved in the movement, a charge her defense outrightly rejected. As part of the attack on protesters on 16 July 2024, in front of the Begum Rokeya University in Rangpur, members of the security forces fired multiple rounds at close range into the chest of an unarmed student protester without provocation. As the head of the government, Sheikh Hasina was held responsible. Then on August 5th, 2024, under the command and supervision of the accused, is what the prosecution said, law enforcers and armed Awami League activists allegedly opened fire on unarmed student protesters in Dhaka, killing at least 6 people. Prosecutors argue the attackers burned the bodies of 5 victims, set fire to another one who was still alive but in critical condition in front of the Ashulya police station on the day the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh was forced to flee. Sheikh Hasina today has been found guilty on all those counts and sentenced to death by the ICT. Coming as no surprise to her or her supporters, Sheikh Hasina in a statement not only denied all allegations against her but also called the verdict biased and politically motivated. She said that the distasteful call for death penalty reveals the brazen and murderous intent of extremist figures within the interim government to remove Bangladesh's last elected Prime Minister and to nullify the Awami League as a political force. She called the International Crimes Tribunal rigged and highlighted how it was presided over by an unelected government with no democratic mandate. She even dared the interim government under Yunus to bring the charges against her at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. She said then she would be exonerated. Sheikh Hasina cited her track record to reject allegations of human rights abuses. She highlighted her government's refuge to hundreds and thousands of Rohingyas fleeing persecution in Myanmar. Over a 450% GDP growth in 15 years when she was at the helm and lifting millions of Bangladeshis out of poverty. She said that these were not the acts of leadership unconcerned by human rights. And Dr. Yunus's achievements were remotely comparable. This verdict was an unprecedented reversal of roles. The court that delivered this blow to Sheikh Hasina, the International Crimes Tribunal, was established in 2010 by Hasina herself. Awami League government founded the court to prosecute people for atrocities committed during Bangladesh's liberation war in 1971, when the country declared its independence from Pakistan. While the tribunal fulfilled a long-standing national demand for accountability, it soon became one of the country's most politically divisive institutions. Over the next decade, the ICT convicted and executed several opposition leaders, mainly from Jamaat-e-Islami and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party or the BNP. The executions of several top politicians drew criticism from global rights groups, which accused the tribunal of procedural flaws, rushed trials and selective targeting. Hasina's government denied those allegations back then. The same allegations are being repeated by Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League today. But despite the controversies, ICT remained one of Hasina's most powerful judicial instruments. A court she created, expanded and heavily defended. Now this is a major turning point in Bangladeshi politics. Sheikh Hasina was a long-serving, powerful prime minister, and these legal developments are historic. First came the contempt conviction. It's relatively lighter compared to the crimes against humanity conviction that has come today, but it is still symbolically important. It was the first legal sentence that she had received. There's a risk of political unrest or instability in Bangladesh, given that her party is a major force in the country. So what happens next? If Sheikh Hasina stays out of Bangladesh, her sentence remains unforced. She effectively becomes a fugitive, but safe from physical custody as long as she stays outside Bangladesh like she is now. If she enters Bangladesh or any country that respects Bangladesh's extradition request, she risks immediate detention. And if she continues to stay in exile, Bangladesh can request Interpol red notices. However, countries do not have to comply. India, where Sheikh Hasina currently is, could simply decline to extradite her. India has no obligation to hand her over, especially if New Delhi views the trial as politically motivated. Prosecutors in Bangladesh have already asked the court to confiscate her assets. Her family's business and political structures inside Bangladesh could be dismantled. Her party, the Awami League, may split into rival factions. Leadership struggles could escalate and some might align with the interim government for survival. Personally, Sheikh Hasina may remain safe if she doesn't return to Bangladesh. But the impact will be seen, both on her party and on her country. CNN News 18 has now exclusively spoken with Sheikh Hasina's son, who resides in Washington. This is the first reaction that is coming to the fore from Sheikh Hasina's son, who's called this a sham trial. He says people have responded to our shutdown call. There is no rule of law anymore in Bangladesh and that they will be fighting this out.
We are now joined by Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wajid, who has already reacted very strongly in Twitter. Sir, what is your first reaction to this verdict that has come today?
This verdict was known. This was a setup. This was a sham trial. This was completed within 2-3 months by an illegal government. They had to change the laws to enable this trial, and which can only be done by parliament. And the verdict was predetermined. My mother was not even allowed to hire her own attorneys, her own lawyers. So yes, this is a total sham.
And then how, what from now, the Awami League has already called in a shutdown, but how do you plan to go forward, because such a sentence, that to a death sentence?
The sentence itself is a joke. My mother is safe in India. What are they going to do to her? This will all get overturned eventually when there is rule of law. Right now there is no rule of law. And people have responded to our shutdowns in Bangladesh. And we are the largest party. We will fight this. Eventually, this regime will be out soon. And eventually, we will get back the rule of law and fight it.
How do you feel, your grandfather has given his life, your mother has given, you have faced, your family has faced so many things, and then something like this is happening now in Bangladesh?
Yes, unfortunately, it is the Jamaat-e-Islam and the Islamists that are backing this regime. They were the defeated forces from our war of independence. And this is their revenge. But again, for Bangladesh now, it's a matter of the future of Bangladesh, whether Bangladesh returns to stability or it becomes a failed Islamic state with terrorists running free. That is the future. So that is what remains to be seen. We are fighting. Our party is still there. We have the largest number of supporters in Bangladesh, and they are not going to stand for this.
And did you speak to your mother? What was her reaction? And she's fighting it out.
No, I have not been able to speak to her. She wasn't able to answer the phone, so I haven't spoken to her. But we are all quite outraged, and we are ready to fight back.
There it was stated in the court that all this phone conversation were not AI. They were found true, that she ordered for such killings and all these things. How do you react to this?
No, that is not true at all. You have to listen to the full conversation, which we have uploaded. It's available online. She orders the arrests of anyone causing violence. That part has been left out. She expresses concern for lives of civilians and students in the same conversation. So you cannot just take a part of it out of context and convict based on that.
And how do you react when the IG becomes an approver? He was like close confidant, but then he became an approver.
Well, he was under arrest. Who knows what they did to him? You will have to ask his family that.
So what is your message for the Bangladeshis, for the Awami League? Lot of people and this shutdown, lot of people are facing, for the last 2 years they're fighting. What is your message for them?
My message is I want to thank the people of Bangladesh for the support they have shown during these lockdowns of the last few days. And the future of Bangladesh depends on them. If they want democracy back, if they want a rule of law back, and if they don't want Bangladesh to become a terrorist state, then they have to fight. They have to join us.
How about your fight? You have been also, from the early childhood fighting everything out, and now also again such a big fight. So how do you see, where do we see you from here?
I am just fighting to save my country, to save my people, that's all. What the future of that is, it really will depend on the people of Bangladesh. But we are fighting from the Awami League side, and we will never give up.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And hope to talk to you in the future also. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Let's open this up. Veena Sikri, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, is with us. Major retired Shamsher Chaudhary, former Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, and Syed Abbas, who's a political analyst, is with us as well. Major Chaudhary, let me begin by asking you, the kind of verdict that has been handed out today to Sheikh Hasina, to her family members, to her supporters, it comes as no surprise. But what do you see happening next?
Well, thank you. See, the law has spoken. And so one has to go by what the verdict of the court is. And this is an internationally recognized crimes tribunal formed under international laws. And I think it would have been more advisable for Sheikh Hasina and her people to have their own designated lawyer. They did not. So by not having their own lawyer, there was no real voice to speak for them. And so there's a government-appointed lawyer just because Sheikh Hasina and the other co-accused, like the former Home Minister and the former Inspector General of Police, these are the three people whose case was being dealt with today. They should have had, will stand. And what happens is, traditionally, what has been the practice, I think everywhere we have seen this, in Bangladesh perhaps more so, that those who are sentenced as guilty by any court, historically we have seen this, they always say this is a sham trial, this court does not have no legal standing, this court has no legitimacy, and then those verdict that goes in favor of them, they rejoice, they have fun. What we are likely to see is some measure of violence by the supporters of the Awami League, which is, I think, the natural course that follows in Bangladesh. It has done in the past. It's already happening. It's happening for the last 2-3 days. People of Bangladesh want to see peace, and they want to see the elections being held in time, and a democratically elected government put in place. In the meantime, the tribunal will go ahead with its work, and we'll have to wait and see how these things turn out.
But Mayor Chaudhary, the point that you made about why that there was no lawyer present, the fact that Sheikh Hasina remains in absentia, she's in exile, but they don't consider this court as legal at all, which is why they don't want to participate.
No, as I said, that is their opinion. And this is an opinion that anybody who has been found guilty in the past, in any court, whether it's a special tribunal or the High Court or appellate division of the Supreme Court, they always say we don't accept this verdict. There's not enough evidence. The evidence has been, manipulated, etc. This is the standard language with the legal system in Bangladesh. It is happening over a long period of time. And so the reaction from the Hasina supporters is not anything new. I mean, this has been happening before. So this is just a continuation of what we've seen in the past.
But if this continues, Veena Sikri, then it could be trouble for India, or at least India needs to be wary of that. There could be a spillover effect. We did see the kind of protests that broke out, which led eventually to the fall of Sheikh Hasina's government. What followed after that, the kind of attacks that we saw, especially on minorities. Do you see something similar happening once again?
Well, I must first of all say to former Foreign Secretary and my good friend that I don't think that anybody would accept that this particular ICT, International Crimes Tribunal, was legally constituted, because the ICT was created by a mandate of a 1973 Act exclusively to try people who perpetrated war crimes in the 1971 Liberation War. There was absolutely no mandate for this ICT beyond that, and there is no parliament right now that could have given this mandate. But immediately after Mohammed Yunus took over as the interim regime chief advisor, he has completely weaponized the judiciary. All the lawyers from all the judges, the judiciary members from the Supreme Court downwards were forced to resign, either by mobs surrounding them or by attacks on their homes, including all the ICT judges. So a vacuum was created in which an interim regime, which has no constitutional powers to appoint people to these posts, went ahead and appointed their own chosen people, mainly with backgrounds of Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the real force controlling everything in Bangladesh today. And then they went ahead and decided to try Sheikh Hasina. So I don't think at all that the question of a legal court can apply to the ICT, because it is clearly a kangaroo court. Secondly, I think even the lawyer that Sheikh Hasina has appointed was not allowed to take part there. And finally, I think even the evidence, there is no evidence. You say 1,400 people have died. Where are the names? Where are the post-mortem reports? When did they die? So many of them are shown having died after 5th of August or on the 5th of August after Sheikh Hasina left the country. So you can't really blame her for something that has happened after she has left the country. And there's so many lacunae in the whole way in which the fastest ever trial conducted in Bangladesh over the last 54 years, I don't think that any kind of credence can be given. And the second part of it is that the actions done by the Yunus regime themselves, that means, people, the so-called students who were actually all Islami Chhatra Shibir, attacking police stations, 400 of them, killing policemen, they still haven't got the police force back. All these, there's no trial for any of those acts because they have given themselves indemnity. They have indemnified themselves against these acts. So there is really a completely one-sided effort at showing that, everything was happened. Now, for example, when you say that to face a law and order situation in the country, the Home Minister or the Prime Minister asked the police to take action and to ensure that nothing goes out of thing. And this can, on times, include orders to kill. Even today in Bangladesh, under the interim regime, they themselves issued orders to kill and said if anybody disturbs the peace, kill them. These were the kind of orders issued today. So I don't think that this one-sided kind of a trial is going to get any kind of international credence. In the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Sheikh Hasina's lawyers, a group in England, a legal group in England, they have filed a case there. Some amount